Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 23. I said last time it was 23. This one's episode 23 of Meet the Devs, and today we got Chris once again. Uh, and me and Chris are gonna go over basically what's coming in season two, and we're just gonna do a big episode of just Q&A. It's gonna be mainly. I don't think we have any slides for today. I know people love the slides, super popular slides. But today we're just gonna, yeah, this is the only slide we got. I got a Q&A slide, so we can talk a little bit about what we've been working on and some stuff we haven't mentioned. But most of it is just gonna be Q&A. So yeah, prepare your questions. We're doing it on Discord. We're doing it live. So if you're watching it on YouTube, come watch us live about every other week on Wednesdays. And yeah. Chris, what are we talking about? What's coming in season two? Yeah, we have no slides, chat. It's okay. We'll get through it without slides.
Yeah. So next Meet the Devs, we're gonna talk all about season two, and then a little bit about what's after season two that we're excited about. So there's gonna be a lot of new things we've never talked about before. But the thing is, I thought about doing part of it this Meet the Devs and then part of it the next one, but they're also interconnected. It makes sense to just do it all at once. And so yeah, we're going to wait till the next Meet the Devs to do it. We do have one announcement this Meet the Devs, which is that the next season will launch in a few weeks. Right now we're targeting August 27th. And so that will include the patch day going live and like the wipe and everything. So that's going to be like at the end of the month, August 27th. So it's a Wednesday. So yeah, that's the season two launch date that we're sharing. You know, we're gonna try to hold to that date. And so far in the past, we've always held to our dates, but that's the date going to be for the patch. And so the Meet the Devs will probably do the week before. So no Meet the Devs next week, but the week after. And then in that one, we'll talk about everything going into the patch, and then some other stuff afterwards as well. So, but I kind of thought about what could we talk about this Meet the Devs, and what could we show? And there's some things we could do, but I thought maybe we just open it up for Q&A the entire episode, because we get so many questions that I feel bad not answering them all, because we really only can have really around an hour time to answer questions, because we have to get back to work right after this. And so yeah, so we could just kind of open the floor up just for questions. Happy to answer anything.
We can answer one that I see in chat a lot. People are asking if
Okay.
Paladin's confirmed for the 27th. You can say this.
Yeah, so the Paladin is not for this season. The Paladin's for the next season, season 3. So we are working on it now, and we will share some details about the Paladin and show some stuff, but he won't be in this season. Yeah.
Yeah, he's being worked on. It's a work in progress. Alright, I'm gonna invite some people over. Mr. Sato. Oh, someone lowered their hands. Maybe that was the question.
Hi guys.
What's up, Satorix?
Yo.
I'm gonna be quick. It's not really the most important question, but as you guys know, that I just recently ran a tournament with the Junk King title, and I was curious about. This is directed at you, Chris. In the future of adding a possible like title in the game for that tournament, if I continue to do it throughout the seasons, like, is that something that you guys would be willing to do for the community?
I like the idea. We don't have we don't have like the ability to do any titles just yet, but at some point in time we will. And so that's something we could evaluate once we get that ability to do titles. Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I love the community driven sort of events and content and stuff. So yeah, it's something we'll talk about. What do you imagine the title would be? The Junk King?
So I had this idea, and this might be a spoiler, but I wanted to have like a Junk King title per season, and then have a reigning Junk champion. So you have like the season 1 winner fighting the season 2 winner at the end, and whoever wins keeps the actual Junk King title, and the other titles turn into season 1 Junk King and season 2 Junk King, you know?
I see. Yeah, interesting idea. I mean, we'll think about it, and we'll probably you know evaluate again once we get that title feature in.
Yeah, I don't get to ask you questions very often, so I figured I'd take the opportunity. Love the game, guys. Great season. Honestly, I'm still playing it. I'm still loving it. You guys are awesome. Cook.
Oh,
Awesome. Well,
thanks.
thanks for the question. Yeah.
And thanks for the little secret project you're working on, Mr. Storix.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get... Yes, sir. All right, talk to you later. Let's get Mr. Ark in here. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, wow. Hello.
Hello, hello.
I'm having, of course, a blast playing the game. I just had a question. I think I asked this last week, but, I just want to ask it again. Is there any plans for extra drop rates or anything that would motivate the players who are currently playing this season to continue playing the extractions? Because I do have a lot of people who constantly ask me, what's the point of playing the game right now if wipe's about to happen? So all we really have is deathmatch, and the extractions don't feel as rewarding because the materials that they're going to gain would feel like it's going to get deleted. So I was wondering if there's going to be like an increase in drop rates so that there would be a lot of individuals who'd be running around in purples or legendaries towards the end of the wipe.
Yeah, we did this in the past before where we just kind of increased drop rates for stuff towards the end of the season. It's something we're talking about doing right now. We're finishing up a lot of our tasks and stuff that we have to get in for the next season, for all the new content and patch and stuff. And the goal is, if we can get all that situated, this is something that we'll probably do. So it's something Sung is organizing right now with us, and so yeah, we're open to the idea. Just it's only if just the only thing is just if we just get our tasks done basically for the season, which is it's trending that way. So yeah, good. It's a good idea.
Cool,
And I think something that I mentioned last Meet the Devs, which is still true, is that the goal is to try to build a lot of events and things that just kind of naturally unlock during the season as you go through the season, that are interesting and keep the players who are playing towards the mid to end season something to do. So that is a goal that we have, and we're working on that as well on the roadmap. Is just the way to do like these dynamic events based on a schedule. So yeah, it's a good
That's
question.
cool. Yeah, that's cool. So we're gonna be getting events throughout the entirety of a season, just random, like a time zone's gonna just unlock.
That's the
Or
goal.
temp
That's
rooms.
kind of like the vision that I have, is like um um sort of like holidays or something, but not, they don't necessarily have to be holidays, but you know, uh um you could think about like a certain type of creature type that starts visiting Greenwood at a certain, like, a month in or something, and they drop an item that lets you craft something that you normally wouldn't be able to craft, or etc. Like, I don't know, there's all these like little dynamic events that we could do to shake up the game and make it feel like a living world, I think that's like kind of our long-term vision that we want to do.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one other thing we'll talk about. We'll tease next week to devs.
All right, brothers. Thank you.
Enjoy the
All right,
question.
thanks.
All right. I'm just inviting people.
I'm writing all the questions down just so I remember.
Awesome.
Hello.
Yo, how's it going?
Yo.
I'm good. I love the game. I just have a quick question regarding the different maps and the seasons. Can we have a kill counter for at the end of the season for most kills for each map? But each map has a gear cap, so Greenwood, green gear and below. And then at the end of the season, it's all tallied up, and the winner for each season with the highest kill count gets a title.
Yeah. So what you're kind of talking
So
about,
not a
tallying
gear
up things-
cap for the map, just a gear cap for the recording of the kills. So you only get tallied as a kill for that, challenge if you're in the gear recommended.
I see. So if like you're wearing all legendaries and you kill someone in Greenwood, it doesn't increment it in the leaderboard, or
Yeah.
whatever tally is. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I think this is another thing where we are working on right now is leaderboards. And so I like that idea. I think definitely something that I think we should do.
All right, well that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks.
I like the idea about making it. It's interesting. I mean, just only counting kills if you have a certain gear. I like the spirit of that idea. It might be hard for the player to understand, but of like, why didn't I get this increment in the kill if I had, my legendary item on or something? But yeah, it's something we'll consider. Because I understand the reason why you're suggesting that.
Yeah, I just thought it might incentivize sweats to still want to play the game and get the title and get the most kills and be the boss or whatever. But then the new players are also not getting stomped out by people running around in legendaries. Yeah, I just thought it could be cool.
Right. Yeah. No. Makes perfect sense. Thanks for the question.
All right, thank you.
We can do
Thank
some
you.
custom achievements, custom titles like that, where it requires you to get, I don't know, X number of kills in specific junk gear or something like that. So we could play with that.
Yeah,
future, maybe.
it's funny. There is.
Yeah.
We've been working on achievements right now, like ideas. Just right now, we haven't been implementing them just yet, but because we have no achievements right now.
Yeah,
It's something we're going to work on during EA. So it's one of the things on the list, and yeah, there was some achievements, like the one that we were just talking about. So yeah. Anyway, it just reminded me of that.
Yep. Yo,
Hey,
Mr.
what's up,
Cold
guys?
Brew.
Yes, sir. Quick question. Do you guys have any plans to maybe deck out Greenwood Night for Halloween, Christmas theme? I know, thinking back to like childhood, like Call of Duty, like Chinatown, like the excitement of like going in when the maps change. I feel like that'd be good for like player retention and maybe getting people back in depending on where it drops on the wipe as well. And then second quick thing, any leaks for the rogue third weapon?
Yeah, so I'll answer your first question first. Yeah, I love the idea of holidays. It's something that we talk a lot about. It's one of these things that you have to kind of wait until most things are finished to work on something like that, because it is like a cherry on top type feature with like holidays. But for sure, that's something we'd like to do. One idea I had, which I'm curious the community's thoughts on this, is that tying a holiday per class. And so, like, what is the rogue's holiday? What is the priest's holiday? I mean, some of them, like, you could say, well, priest is similar to Christmas or something, blah, blah. But tying a holiday to the class, and then so it feels like then that class gets something during that holiday of like they can grind out like a cool cosmetic or something like that. And so, yeah, I'm curious what the community thinks of like distributing holidays per class. That's something, if we would do holidays, I think that's something that we'd strive to do, because we're all about trying to celebrate the classes and making them feel immersive and cool. So yeah, that's a good question to bring up.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, and just throw some orange pumpkins in Greenwood Night. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Thanks.
you.
And then the second thing I just quickly said, leak for rogue weapon. Anything?
Oh, and the rogue weapon, yeah. So the rogue weapon we will showcase in the next Meet the Devs. So we'll talk about that and show and unveil what it's going to be.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good questions.
Okay, Chris, I have a question for you from the Twitch chat. It's a question we've been getting a lot.
Yeah.
It's regarding the gear cap in Greenwood and Greenwood Night. What's our stance on that? Do we want to put a gear cap on those maps? Why and why not?
Yeah. It's a question we get a lot. We've talked about it in the past. Devs stance hasn't really changed, which is we're open to the idea. I understand why players want that.
Yeah.
But I think we have other ideas on how to address this as well, like the farm map that we showcased, I think last Meet the Devs, or yeah, I think it was the last one. We think this will also address a lot of the concerns. The primary concern usually is for a newer player learning the game, trying to understand it, and then they go into Greenwood, and then they get ganked by a really, a player who's been playing the game a lot and has like a higher, a lot of good gear. We usually don't hear like this issue, say, in the Crypts or Greenwood Night. It's usually Greenwood Day, and that's because this is like the starting zone for players. And so now the new starting zone for players will not be Greenwood Day. It will be farm day. And so I'm curious to see like how that will go. We're not against the idea of putting gear caps. It's just it'd be a more elegant solution if it's just we don't have that and like the farm day kind of addresses a lot of these issues. But if it doesn't, it's something we will consider doing. And maybe we do that. So we do know this is a really big topic with the community and they bring this up a lot and I think for good reason. I just want to see like how the farm day goes and if this addresses that. But if it doesn't, sure, I think that makes sense.
There it is. Mr. Water Magi. How's it going, sir?
Thank you for having me. Doing
course.
good. Just got back from a small vacation and wanted to pop in to ask us some questions. So I have like about 600 hours on Wizard. It's my main class that I play, and I'm noticing like small little things. I don't know if it's like intended or if it's a bug. And it's when you cast Meteor or when you cast Arclight Explosion around corners, it seems like it doesn't do damage beyond what the character can't see. And I noticed that it happens with other character spells as well. I'm not sure if that's intended or not.
Nope, that's a bug.
Yeah, it's probably a bug, but it's interesting because usually sometimes the damage, I think that in this case we'd want you to be able for that to happen. There is some concern though. For example, you may be in a dungeon, you cast a fireball on the other side of the wall, it may do damage to that target there or something, and then now you'll aggro mobs through the wall and blah blah blah. So we'd have to look at that. That might be the reason why it works that way. But
More specific to Meteor and Arclight Explosion, because like for example, like if I'm in Dawn Hammer Crypts and I know
Yeah.
someone's on the other side of the wall,
Mhm.
and I'll cast it at that corner, but it doesn't hit them when they're at that corner.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
saying it won't hit them if him as the character is not in line of sight of them.
Mhm.
Right.
No, I know. It's
Yeah.
doing LOS check with the caster, yeah. But there can be some reasons why that's important. Anyway, we'll look at that. Yeah. That might be a bug we already know about. I don't know if Troy's in the chat; he could respond to that. But yeah, we'll look at that.
I wrote that down as
One other
well.
question.
Yeah.
Awesome. And one other question is there any talks or discussions about making a Shadowcaster class or Warlock?
Yeah, I know this is a very popular request. We'll talk about it. Next Meet the Devs, we'll talk more about the future of the classes.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank
All
you
right,
for the question.
awesome.
Good question.
Yep.
It's funny because that's also Andre's preferred class.
Yes. Always happy when that's brought up. Oh.
Yo.
Okay. What's up, Torin?
Hey, thanks for having me. My question's kind of related to the achievements thing that you were talking about earlier, the leaderboard.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with profile stats and you unlock a cosmetic once you get 50 revives, or once you get 50 kills on Greenwood Day, cosmetics, a title here or there that you can change your title that's by your name if you want to be a nice guy or a Timmy killer or whatever it is. I don't know. Are you able to talk to what leaderboard, what profile stats we're tracking, how that affects leaderboards? I do think that there's a lot to say about having leaderboards in different categories. There have been other games that I've played where people are just really motivated to, hey, I want to down a guy just so I can res him, just so I can stay top 10 ranked. And at the end of the season, I get a cosmetic. Maybe it's something for the next season. Maybe it's a title. But hey, I just want to stay in the top 10 people who rezzed somebody. I'm being nice by saying rezzed, but maybe it's I want to kill somebody with a fire staff, or killed with ice orb, or killed by ice orb, or something. What's the vision for profile stat tracking and how that affects leaderboards? Maybe a reward system. Are you able to speak to that at all?
Yeah, no, I like the idea. This is definitely something we would do if we had titles, right? Yeah, if we had titles for sure, it's something that we would do. The only concern I ever have about things like you're saying, like, oh, if you revive players 50 times, you get the a blessed title or something like that, right? It's just that it can create degenerate gameplay where people are like feel like they have to do that even though they don't want to. You know what I mean? Just so they can farm this title. And so we just have to be careful about like incentivizing gameplay that we don't want there to be. That one sounds totally fine. But you know, one that could be like, well, loot 30 epics off players or something. Then you could be like, well, could we organize in Discord for people to go in with your epic so I can get this title? It's so hard to get, you know, blah blah. Anyway, it's just some of these things that we'd have to like. Those are just a little bit challenging, but I think we could totally. That's totally something that we will do at some point in time. Is add titles and add cool little things. Gameplay experiences to get those titles. Yeah, I'm curious to hear from the community what some of those ideas are that you think would be the most fun. There's a lot that are very simple, you know, that make a lot of sense. Some of my favorite kind of achievements or titles or these sort of things, we call them in WoW like feat of strength, which is like, say, get a full set of epics during the season, right? Or a certain point in time during the season or something like that, right? Because these feel like a goal or something to do, you know, that's fun, like a performance thing to shoot for. So anyway, yeah, curious to hear from the community. Yeah, I see people in the chat talk about like, you know, either achievements to protect Timmy's or whatever, and this will be more possible too once we add or work on the what I call the honor system, which is recording how many kills you get in the match and making you like an assassin and these things like that. So yeah. So anyway, good ideas. Yeah.
I stopped being able to hear you once I asked my question. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. I'm not sure if I'm like hurt or something. So I will go back and listen to your answer, but I can't hear you right now. I don't know.
Oh no. Can you hear me, Andre?
I can hear you.
I see you're talking. Sorry.
Can you hear? Can you hear
No,
me?
I don't know. It's a Discord thing. I can leave and rejoin again.
Everyone else can.
I don't know if it's my
us.
stage. I've never been on the question before, but thanks for the answer.
Anyone
I'll
else
check it out.
not hear me in chat?
No, everyone can hear you.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know, maybe just the stage issue. But yeah, feel free to look it up. Yeah, maybe Andre let him know that he could listen to it after the.
Oh yeah, he knows. All right, I'm gonna move him in the audience. Hopefully, he doesn't feel kicked or anything. Thanks for the question. It was awesome. Okay, I'm inviting everyone in order now, so I'm trying my best to get through all the questions. I don't think we will be able to, but we're catching up with questions. It might be possible.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
How's
I was thinking about like the first week, maybe you just release Greenwood Day, and the second week Greenwood Day and Night, and third week Day, Night, and Crypts.
Oh, like time gate the maps based on unlocking in a schedule. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I won't lie, I had that thought.
Many people in day the first week, so we will meet people and yeah.
Yeah, I know chat doesn't like the idea, it seems like, but I think the spirit of the idea makes a lot of sense, which is like what you're trying to do is just concentrate players in the map, and it feels like a journey the players are going on at the beginning of the season. What I will say is like, let's see in season 2 how this feels, because I think you'll feel this natural progression without time gating the zone unlocks. I think players will all start we had this as well in season 2, which is that players start in Greenwood Day, and then you saw them at night, and then the crypt, and there's this natural progression. So I think we'll see that also in season 2, and it'd be better if it was just like naturally there and not so much like us time gating it. But it's an interesting idea, and I will say, you know, if you looked at Tarkov's recent hardcore wipe, they did experiment with this. They have way more maps than we do. They have, gosh, I don't know what, 10 something maps or something like that, and they kind of gradually unlock maps through their season, and and that was an interesting experiment. I was definitely paying attention to see how that went. I think for them it did help them because they have so many different maps, and it's kind of crazy. But it had a mixed reception. I think they hotfixed it in like basically the next week to change it. So anyway, it was an interesting experiment. It's good to observe some of these things that some of the other games do because it's interesting. But and I like the spirit of your question, though.
Thanks.
Thank you. I also saw a question in chat. Andre Swerve asked about character-specific keybinds. This is also another question that we've had in the past. We do have plans to do character-specific keybinds. It's just on the list. It's something we will definitely do. And then I also saw another question about gargoyles. Maybe you want to answer that question, Andre? Oh. Yeah, I know. Well, the question was basically just like, what's the status on the gargoyles? Yeah, he's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. So we're adding a little more. This is something we're going to be doing in the crypt and the night map is adding some mini bosses like how we had in Greenwood Day with the animated armor, the ogre, and the wraith. So we're also adding some more to the other maps as well. Yeah, so we're also doing some updates to the crypt map. Yeah, we'll talk about that next Meet the Devs. But
Wait,
yeah.
Just because I was muted on Discord and it's gonna be muted for YouTube. The question was about gargoyles, and I basically said that we were gonna share it. We were gonna share it today, but we ended up not sharing it today because we didn't have it set up on, like, in game. But it's basically a big bat gargoyle, classic abilities: turns to stone, flies, lunges at you, and it's basically a more difficult mini boss. That's the TLDR. Oh, sorry, I was muted, so I had to like repeat it for YouTube. All right, Mr. Bones. Sorry, you had to wait so
Hello.
much. How's it going?
Nice to meet you. I really
Nice to
like
meet you
your
too.
game. I enjoyed it for a few weeks, but I just have a tiny little question about the first screen while we are queuing, because when I try to move my character and click on the CD, the quest, and the stash, everything is okay. But once I click for queuing during the queuing time, everything is a bit freezing, and I really like to enjoy my time during this queuing moment while clicking into the quest, into the CD, and everywhere else. And I don't know if you guys are planning to let us be able to click anywhere else during this moment.
Yeah, good question. So we've gotten this question before, and those in the chat who've been with the game since pre-alpha or season 0 know that in the past you were able to like sell and buy stuff from the vendors and do your quests and stuff like that while you're in queue. We did change it so that it does lock the UI while you're in queue. The reason why is because we had to harden the game for cheats and stuff like that. There's all these things you could do and hack the game while it's like you're in queue and blah blah blah. And so we have to like fix some of these things in the back end to be able to allow re-add that ability back to interact with the game. You know, the game's still in early access, and so we're still growing, and it becomes less of a problem as we get more players because the queues will be basically instant. So it being freezing the UI and stuff like that, you won't really feel it as much most of the time. I mean, most of my queues are within a minute, even right now, with if you're queuing Greenwood Day and stuff like that. But if you're queuing like say solo crypts or something like that at like 2 a.m. your time or something, and maybe take a while to spin up the map. But anyway, not against that idea of not unlocking the UI while you're in queue. We just have to iron out some of these bugs. So
Sounds good.
yeah, thanks for the question.
Thanks for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, I have a question from Twitch chat.
Okay.
I know it's something we were talking about. I actually don't even know what the status on that is. And they're asking if we considered having mimics in the game, like chests that act like they look like a normal chest, but you try to open it and it's just eats you up.
Yeah. Yeah, Cole has a really great. The artists have a really great concept of the mimic that we want to do at some point in time. It's on the list. I don't quite know when we'll get to it, but yeah, if we get a lot of requests for a mimic, that's something maybe we could prioritize from the community. Something we've been talking about doing is creating like a way to upvote ideas and stuff, so we know exactly how popular they are with the community. Because all these ideas are great, and we, if we had unlimited time, we would do them all. But we do have to prioritize some things. But yeah, open to. We definitely want to do that.
Cool. I think. Hey, how's it going, Mr. M?
Mr. X, but yeah, hi, nice
Mr. X.
to see you. Love your game. I just want to tell me if, by the way, I'm cutting out or anything. But basically, I just want to talk about one thing, which is basically I feel like the main issue of why we lose so many players at the end of the season. And I've kind of felt this from, especially lately, from like watching and playing other playtests of other extraction games like Mistfall Hunters a few months back, and Vault Breakers and Midnight Walkers and so forth. The thing I kind of notice and I see, and I've noticed as well from like new players, because it's about loot basically. Like how before you kind of increase the loot to kind of help people get into the game and so forth, and that was definitely a step in the right direction. But I feel like the main issue is still like for new players, when they want to go in, they're gonna die a lot, obviously, as you know. So most of the time they have to farm like 3, 4, 5 games to be able to get one set of gear, and then they kind of die with it again in like 1 or 2 games, and they kind of get mad and so forth. And while that's kind of okay, in the other games, that kind of doesn't happen because like the loot is so common and they have so much more backspace to take it with them, to the point where it's like they can get 2 or 3 sets of gear in one raid sometimes if they're lucky, or in like 2 or 3 games or whatever in a row like that, if they're actually pretty good. Well, in this game, it's a lot more of a grind. And while I think that's fine for like the epic and legendary tier, I think you should make the other tiers like way easier, to the point where they're no longer afraid to take that gear ever, basically. But like they should be obviously a little afraid of the epic and legendary, because that's actually rare and kind of what you want to work towards. Otherwise, there's nothing to work towards. But like, I think you should experiment with that a little bit. You get the idea.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's something I always reevaluating and thinking about. You're right. I think maybe even it was the beginning of season 1 or it was the end of season 0. At some point in time, we did increase the drop rates of blues, epics, and then we added legendaries to even drop. Before season 0, you couldn't find legendaries. So we have been making some changes, and we're always listening to feedback from players, how we feel about these things. One big thing with our game is that in some of the other extraction games, they call something called like what do they call it? Self-found, I think they call it, which is like most extraction games, they have like a auction house, or in Tarkov they have the market or whatever, the flea. And so to be honest with you, in our game is one of the more challenging games to acquire loot, because you do have to find it yourself or craft it from materials that you extract with, and you can't die, right? And so so I do think this is a superior game design. I think it is more fun rather than buying your kit off the auction house for gold. However, you could make the argument, well, blues, epics, and maybe legendaries are too challenging, and you just hit a wall, and that's kind of why you're churned. That's basically what you're saying. It's like, well, I get greens and I have like a few green sets, but then getting blues is so challenging, and I kind of churn out because of that. So I think it's fair enough. I mean, I think we have to like look at the data and see. I think I have no idea if that's completely true for every player or not. I can understand it makes sense of why some players would churn for that reason, and that's why we changed gear in season 1 or at the beginning of season or at the end of season 0 and at the beginning of season 1. And I anticipate we will keep turning these knobs. It's funny. I saw some folks in the chat tag Crafty, John, and it's his domain of tuning these numbers, and it's something he's thinking about a lot. So just keep sending your feedback, and we want to hear from the players about this topic. And changing the numbers is not trivial, but it's not like that hard, and so it's definitely something that we can continue to massage to make feel good in the game. And other reasons why I think players, first of all, and I said this like the last Meet the Devs, it's very normal for players to churn during a season of any game, especially an extraction game. I saw like a headline the other day. It's like, oh wow, like Dune Ascension lost 80-something% of its players after 30 days. That's actually normal, for that to happen. And so it's okay for players to churn out of game during the season, as long as hopefully they revisit the next season or one in the future. And so there's more things we could do though for sure to keep the season engaging as it goes on. We just talked earlier in Meet the Devs or in this episode with one of the players who asked about events, and so that's one thing we could do. There's some new additions that we're adding this next season for more things to do for players as well that we'll talk about, but it's a whole other dynamic to the game that is more content and things to do. So I think the more we add the game, more stuff we do during early access will really add to this. But anyway, to summarize the answer to your question, I think it's fair enough that's a theory that some folks churn who are unable to get blues and epics, and we could maybe streamline that to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's great. Well, just to mention though, I don't mean like that they definitely want like blues and epics. Like for some people, even just getting greens is hard enough. But like,
true.
As a quick example, like if the like unlocking crafting backpacks was like at level 1 the white one, and then level 2 the green one, and so forth, so it's like a lot easier. That alone would help a lot, because then they have actual decent sized backpacks to take with them the entire time. Because like right now, to get the green backpack, it's level 4 Tailor, for example, which like some people kind of quit before they get level 2 or 3 Tailor. So
yeah, no, I fair. I mean, it's definitely something that we want to fine tune for sure. One other idea we had last Meet the Devs that I am reminded of right now, that is something we're working on, is the quest board where it gives you quests, right? Like the 3 little tasks. Usually it's like, hey, gather field lilies or that sort of thing, and we'll give you a reward. One thing we want to change with the quest board is that the quest board will be customized to the player based on who they are. For example, if they've died 5 times in a row, they all have like common gear and they're unable to pierce through the next tier, we can maybe give them more accessible quests that give them better rewards to kind of catch them up, to kind of make them feel like, we don't want to do that too much, but I think we could kind of surgically target the players and help them, if they're falling behind and that kind of thing. Because I agree with the spirit of your question, which is like, how can we kind of keep players engaged and make it so that the game isn't too crushing for them or that kind of thing. And that's definitely this whole spirit of this next season and the patch, which is the farm map and new player experience and that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. Pretty much agreed there.
Awesome, good question.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Chris, someone in Twitch is asking about guilds. What are the plans for guilds? Do we plan to make guilds?
Yeah. So guilds is it's on the roadmap. I think it's even in the roadmap in the Miro, and we will update that Miro too. By the way, after the next Meet the Devs, because there's a lot more to add to it. But yeah, the guilds is something that is still on the roadmap that we're working towards. There's a lot of back end work that has to be done for it in terms of all these things, which sounds like every game has, but in order to do them properly, it does take some work, which is the roster of your guild, and like, can you add and remove people, and like the cap of it, and blah blah. And so it's something that we're working on doing right now. But a big thing with the guild will also be like, what is the gameplay? What is like, is it just like a list of people that you have with a guild name or something like that? We want to add some like gameplay experience to it to make it like fun. So it's on the list. I think it's not something that is mission critical for the game right now, but I do think it would be something to add like another dynamic to it at some point in time. So it's on the list. Yeah.
Hey guys. So
Hey.
I'm great. I've been working on legacy loot, gathering all your all's data. But lots of questions today about titles, achievements, cosmetics and stuff. And I think all that really comes down to players looking for stuff to do, like a reason to play beyond just gathering loot and looking for PvP. So
Yeah.
my question has to do with the Chronicle system, and do we plan to expand that for more content? We know Escape from Tarkov has the Kappa achievement, and that is very involved and kind of breaks players out of their comfort zone. So could we see a world where Legacy has a meta quest like that with off the wall achievements, like getting 5 hunter kills with bombs on crypts, and then forcing that player to then go to Greenwood Knights and get 7 longbow headshots? Just things to get people out of their comfort zone and maybe get them to try out other classes that ultimately has a reward in season, like a 2x3 secret stash container or something.
Yeah, good question. And by the way, I really appreciate your work on the legacy loot. I've actually used it myself of like, what was that item again? And I'll go to it to look at it. It's faster than loading up our editor. So
Oh yeah.
So I appreciate that. Yeah, and everybody in the chat should check it out because it's a really useful tool. Yeah, so you make a really good point. So again, one of the big features that we're adding in the next season is we're fleshing out this system that we call campaigns. So we have the Chronicle right now, right? And it used to be called the campaign. I know it's kind of confusing, but the Chronicle is essentially like a quest line for the season, and it's like asking you to unlock different things, like, oh, unlock the lodge, unlock the bed, and blah blah blah, and go do these quests in the world. And so we are still going to have that in season 2. We've updated it, so now it doesn't have the time gating like it had this season. That was an experiment. Long story on that, but anyway, it was an experiment, so we got rid of that. But we've refreshed the quest, and it has more quests, I think, even now. So there's that, and then we also are going to have the campaign system we're launching in season 2. So here's just like a little spoiler, although it is on the roadmap. But anyway, we're launching a campaign system with essentially quest lines, and so there's going to be all these different quest lines you could do, even including class-specific ones. And so some things you're talking about here will be included. Basically, we're doing that, doing some of that. We don't quite yet have one of like getting headshots with the longbow per se, but we're starting off a little more generic, but over time we'll do more interesting creative ones as we flesh out the system. But yeah, so I definitely agree with you. I think this is something I think a lot of players hopefully will enjoy, because there will be rewards for each of these quest lines for the campaigns, and there'll be interesting, fun content to do. Something that I also notice, if there's fans of Tarkov in the chat or know about the game, is the whole hardcore wipe was really interesting, because they launched the season, the wipe with not as many quests. And if you know Tarkov, they have so many quests. It's like, it's really important to the loop of the game. and players are just like, what is this game for? There's like no quests in it anymore. And so I do think that adding more quests to our game and quest lines, etc., will flesh out our game more as well. And it's just something that I think is missing. So hopefully this will fill that void. Or I'm very curious to see how this goes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really noticed it when I played the Vault Breakers playtest because they overloaded you with quests at the beginning, and some of them were important to
Yeah.
the story, and some were just like kill 5 white wolves inside of a mission. But it was overwhelming. But I found myself continuously getting that dopamine of like, oh, I accomplished this, I did this, I hit that check mark, and it felt great. So I'd love to see more of that in Legacy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think so this is something we've wanted to do from the beginning, and so it's a new this whole quest system we're adding, and I'm really excited. I mean, Andre also worked a lot on these, right, Andre? And so excited to put these in.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I'm excited to see what's coming.
Awesome. Good question, though.
Hello everyone. Hi, long time no see. I missed a few of your dev talks in the past, so if it was mentioned before, I apologize. There's so much stuff that I want to ask you, but I'm gonna select one that is a favorite to me, and we discussed it before with Chris. But I want to see if you guys are still planning on developing on this. Now, Chris, since you like to refer a lot to WoW and stuff. I would like to talk about group versus group content. Will you guys be adding any unique mode that doesn't involve arenas or extraction, but instead a group versus group effort to overcome, to overcome their opponent by clearing, say, PvE waves and bosses? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a raid, because it still has the competition element to it. Is that something that you will be Diablo Immortal has that, for example, where a group versus a group fights, and eventually the group who finishes the boss wins the loot. It's something unique to Legacy. Is that something that you would consider?
So let me understand. You mean like a horde mode kind of thing, where you just have all these waves of ads or mobs, that kind of thing?
You
Is
can
that what you're
call it
saying?
that, yeah, sure. Like, let's say
Okay.
10 waves, and every 15 waves or whatever, and every 5 wave you fight a boss. You kill mobs, and you either spawn mobs to the opposite side, or you finish the wave faster than the enemy and you get loot.
Yeah.
A good example, sorry to interrupt you, a good example you gave was the boss of Naxxramas, of the living and undead side.
Oh yeah, so I did talk about that before. I can't remember if I ever talked about this, but yeah, I mean, I like the idea. We have a lot to focus on and to chew on right now of content we need to add to the game, stuff we've talked about, and all these meet the devs that we really want to do. And so, but I like the idea, and the kind of idea that we had internally for a system like this was we called it like a gauntlet. And so you have 3 teams of 3 that spawn in, and then you have a boss that you sort of rush to and you compete over and that sort of thing. And so that was kind of one idea that we had. But I'm open to exploring so many other different. I think what Legacy has as a foundation, with the progression system, with the combat, with the class design, with our what they call the 3 Cs, the character controls and camera, is so solid. I think there's so many different things that we could do with the game. And so I'm open to exploring all these things, and so I love the idea. It's something that I think about a lot, but we just have to complete all the content and stuff, features that we want to do right now. But again, I think maybe this is a good opportunity to add this feature where we can upvote stuff, because if this is something really important to the community that we should focus on, we could always prioritize it.
You did say it's an early access game, so this is the time for you guys to experiment on things.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
It's just something that I think it would really fit to your game, because you have the engine for it. And I think last time we talked about this, you said that you were like, daydreaming a bit, saying like, I could add this in a big arena with bosses and stuff. Like, you do have the plan of implementing this somehow And I'm just, let's say, pushing you towards that idea because I think it will be successful.
Yeah. No, like I said, I love the idea. It's something that we will look at doing at some point in time. I just not quite sure when, but yeah.
That was my question. Thanks again and good job.
All right.
Keep
Thanks.
that, guys.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you again. Okay, let's get Adriano TTV. And give me one second.
Oh shit, already? Okay,
Yes.
thank you for having me. So my question is related to rogues. Sorry, everyone who hates rogues. We know pretty much that rogues are going to be expecting probably one of the biggest class reworks next. Can you give us some hints at what it would look like? Or is it too early?
Well, I mean, we're working on it right now and we're trying some ideas, so I'm kind of loath to kind of say specifics because then, people will expect those specific things that I said. But what I said last meeting does, which is still true, is kind of the goal here is to make fighting against a rogue with daggers feel fun and skill based and dynamic, and for the rogue to feel that it's fun and dynamic and skill based with daggers. And so I know that rogue gameplay with daggers right now can feel this way to a lot of players because they know a lot of depth and intricacies of how to counter, say, phantom dagger or cheap shot, etc. But I think for the low to mid tier player, it's harder to know, and when you're playing against a rogue, how to counter that and stuff, which isn't consistent with a lot of the other classes, which is like you evade or you block, and these are very like intuitive. So anyway, that's the goal with any kind of improvements that we do to the rogue there. And then the second goal, so the first goal is to make the dagger gameplay feel dynamic, fun, and has counterplay and skill based for the rogue and for the opponents. And then the second one is to make the rogue really have good melee, feel like a little bit more like a melee class. Obviously, is a melee class. The chat's like, what? I play the rogue in melee, but there's a lot of powers that the rogue has at ranged. Whether it's poison dart or using the Q on the swords or phantom dagger, etc. And so we do want to incentivize and create more gameplay for the rogue in melee. And so that means some opportunities, I think, which I challenge the team about, is like, more evade attacks, more like jump attacks and stuff like that feel dynamic in what we call the combat triangle of like block, evade, and doing normal attacks. And so and I think it's fair for the rogue to say, well, we just don't have as many of those, and so yeah, we could add some, right? So it's a project. It's not like a very simple like little change. So it's something that we're working on right now of experimenting with a few things there. But yeah, maybe more to share next Meet the Devs, and we could as we kind of hone in on exactly what we're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. Just one last quick question. Are there any intention to take a look at Smoke Bomb? Either the strength of it, which is, I think it's maybe a bit too strong, and the cost for crafting it, please.
Yeah, John's probably in the chat, so he could hear. He plays a rogue as well, as one of his characters, so he knows about the cost, and so he'll look at that. But with some of these class tools, some of them we want to be strong, but then have a cost, like a meaningful cost, right? Like the priest, she has a cleanse one and one to basically be a bandage she could do on another player. So and those have a higher cost, and so we want each of the classes to have some of their class tools that are more harder to craft or rare and more valuable, but are more powerful. So we want that gradient of power and rarity. And so maybe the smoke bomb doesn't fit there, maybe it does, but anyway, yeah, we can evaluate that. I assume you're just kind of saying it's too expensive. Do you think it's too powerful or not powerful?
I think it's too strong. Yes.
Too
I
strong,
think both
okay.
for swords and daggers, I think it's too strong. It should probably last a bit less, but I mean, that's up to you guys.
Yeah, okay, fair. That's the feedback we wrote down, so we'll look at that.
Well, that's it for me. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Good question.
See ya.
Yeah. Wow. Hour passed fast. Like we got room for 2 more, maybe.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I kind of just wanted to ask you, Chris, if I guess the intention for this game to always be at its core an extraction game, because I have a fear that later on in the future, when you guys implement the arena game mode, if the arena game mode is not limited in terms of when you can play it, and if it's just open 24/7, that the arena game mode is going to outshine the extraction game mode, since the most enjoyable thing about the game is easily the combat. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's totally a possibility. Right now, there's no immediate plans yet to add arena as a permanent mode. It is something we want to explore in the future, and as we grow the game, add more modes, experiment with those, etc. But I can understand what you mean if it potentially could cannibalize the extraction mode. The way that I would like to do the arena is that the gear that you require from doing the extraction mode, you can customize your kits and your build and stuff like that for the arena, right? Right now, what we do with the arena events sometimes is like, oh, you get a preset template or something that everyone gets when you go in there, so it's like really fair and balanced and that kind of thing. And I think there's a role for that, and there's like we can cycle these in and out. But I think one cool idea for the arena is just that you get the gear from the extraction mode, and then you bring it into the arena, and it's something that you could use the gear for. And this is very common. This is what we did on WoW, and it was really interesting because we did this experiment on WoW where in arena we gave templates, so we just gave you we set your stats and everything to a certain value, and this is something that players constantly ask for, and we added it, and arena population nosedived because actually they like the idea of either getting the gear and using the gear and having this sort of texture of um of um of power difference there a little bit. So anyway, that's kind of how I think about how the extraction mode in the arena could connect, so it doesn't necessarily have to cannibalize it. That said, though, there are probably a cohort of players who play our game who, if our game was the arena game, it'd be the perfect game, right? Like, for sure. I mean, people always told me that working on WoW Arena is like, oh, WoW Arena was its own game, it'd be amazing. But then, I noticed someone in the chat mentions this. There was a game called. There's been a few experiments where games are like this. One was Battle Right, and I like Battle Right too. I thought it was a really awesome game, but it's a very narrow, small type of what they call cohort of players who play like skill-based arena type games. It's more accessible to play a game like even like ours, where there's a progression system, there's crafting, there's quests, there's all this other stuff that the average player can kind of do. Because the average player will just never be able to say beat a really high ranked arena player in an arena. And so arena does really well as a smaller feature in a larger game, I think. So that's kind of what the goal with arena would be for us if we ever add it as more of a permanent mode. Right now it's kind of like an event thing that we do in the weekends and something that we play around with, mostly also because we're experimenting with it and learning from the events and stuff like that. But I think your assumption there, or your fear, is fair, and it's definitely going to be a consideration whenever we add that map or a mode to the game, if we ever add it. One other thing to consider too, though, is that, for example, we're adding this farm map, which is predominantly a PvE map, to the game. And another theory that I've had, which is also fair, I think, is if you add PvE content to the game, that could maybe cannibalize some of the PvP players or some of the players that we have currently who will just say, well, I'll just play the PvE thing, and I wish you add more PvE maps. And then suddenly now we have two types of players who want to play the game, the PvE player and the PvP player, and basically have all these same problems that you have with an MMO. And so that's a real possibility as well. This is why the farm map's an experiment. But even if we did have that problem where now we have two types of players who like two types of different content, the assumption that one is cannibalizing the other usually doesn't pan out, because the thing is, if you remove, say, there's a certain types of players who likes playing certain types of things, and so if you have two things, if you serve pizza and tacos, it doesn't mean that the people who, and you remove tacos, all the people who will just suddenly go to pizza. It doesn't work that way. And so if you have two offerings, you have two types of markets of two types of players, and that's just how it works. And the challenge is just cooking pizza and tacos both at the same restaurant. So anyway, it doesn't necessarily will cannibalize it, because they're just different types of players who like different types of things. The biggest challenge is just for the development team to maintain basically two little games within the same game, right? Which is the classic problem that MMOs have, is you have the hero's journey of the leveling experience, you have the PvE dungeons, you have the questing, you have the raids, you have PvP, you have battlegrounds, blah blah blah, and you have to maintain all these different experiences for all those different types of players. So I think as our game grows, and this is why I say our game, zoom out 10 years or something, maybe could turn into an MMO, because I do like the idea of adding more experiences to Legacy and to this IP and franchise, and growing our audience and growing the types of players it has. But, going back to reality and back to, August 2025, our focus right now is on the core experience of the game right now, which is extraction, which is all the stuff that we have right now with this player base and stuff like that. But we are going to continue to experiment with new modes, new experiences, and attracting different types of players as we grow. Yeah, anyway, long answer to what you asked.
I think that answer is pretty substantial. I do hope that the first iteration that we get to at least try would be maybe an experimentation where there's a reward system attached to your ranking in the arena, and a way that would kind of incentivize that rank and make rank points feel that much more rewarding would be if there was a big loss to losing ranked points, and that would be for example, losing a piece of gear that you go in with. That way at least then you'll have to back out, go back into the extraction mode, maybe grind for a little bit, get that gear piece back, and then try again in the arena. Something like that I think could be pretty beneficial, because at least then it's like revolving around the core system of the extraction game mode. But yeah, you had a substantial answer. So
you don't lose all your gear, you only lose one of them or something, one piece or something.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, but I like the goal that you have, and it's the same goal I have, is if we add arena to the game, make sure it fits with the extraction mode, fits with our core experience, and doesn't cannibalize it if we can. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Look forward to the rogue weapon announcement next Meet the Dev.
Awesome. Yeah, me too.
All right, we got time for one more, right? Let's get Big Zap here.
Yeah, I said two more, so let's do one last one.
I have one question before he asks. Oh, hi, Big Zap.
Go ahead. Thanks for having me.
Okay, go ahead, Big Zap.
So, my question is regarding the PTRs that already happened. Like earlier in the season, there were some PTRs for like VIP people that are not public, right? So my question is basically regarding the fact that Wizards kind of blew up a big part of the season, and I know it's hard to like instantly fix stuff like that live. Like you can't fix those type of things instantly. But my question is actually, could there be like a PTR with specifically big people that actually play a lot of PTR, like weeks in advance, that you can trial and error as you develop the further patch, like the season 2 launch or whatever, something along those lines? Because a lot of people, at least that's what they have written in the official Discord, is that they left the game because Wizard broke the game. That's a little bit over the top, I believe, but it's still something to look at, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. We do some PTRs with a smaller cohort of players, or we did signups if you are interested in doing that. Something probably we will do again for this next season. I have to look at the schedule. I know Sung is something he's working on. I'd like to do more PTRs and maybe even like a public one with the Discord, everybody if they're open to do it, etc. The reason why we don't do that just yet is not because we don't think it's a good idea. It's just because it takes real time to cut these builds and put them on and manage it, etc. Funnily enough, we have one open position right now at the company, which is the build engineer. And so we're actively interviewing for that role right now. And so if we do hire somebody there, it will allow us to do more builds, more PTRs, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a goal of ours for sure that we're working towards.
All right, cool. Yeah, if you need a system engineer remote, call me in. I can always assist, free of charge as well. I'm just that good with the game, you know. But no, in all fairness, thanks for having me and thanks for the answer. And in the meantime, while you guys develop Arena, GBL is still live. Everybody can queue up. So I'll catch y'all later.
Awesome. Well, good question. Yeah, that was a good one. And I appreciate the offer.
Right.
Okay. All right, guys.
Catch you later. Thanks a lot for the question. Yeah, to catch you later. I have one last question from Twitch chat, if that's okay.
All right.
And it was regarding if we're gonna have a search function for the stash. I know that was something we wanted to have at some point. I don't even know what the status on that is, so I'm curious as well.
Yeah, it's funny because we've had it's in the Figma and the wireframe, you know, to have a search field for the stash. It's something we want to add in the future. It's on the roadmap. It's something that we want to do at some point in time. Before we do the search, we'll probably do the sort button, which is tasked out, and it will be in the game at some point in time. And the first Meet the Devs where we didn't get that question again. But yeah, we're working on a sort button or sort functionality, and then at some point in time also having search. There's other things we'd like to keep innovating with Stash, which is an ability to make it so certain tabs, like if you dump all of your food or something, it goes to a certain tab, and sorting these sort of things. So it's on the list. We do want to do them. Just take some time.
All right. Well, that was last question, I think. We didn't get through everyone's questions. We have a few raised hands still, but we got to get back to working on the game.
Yeah. There'll be more. Maybe next Meet the Devs we'll do a larger Meet the Devs, like add more time to it, so we can answer more questions, because we're all going to spend some time presenting a bunch of things. So
yeah,
I think there are going to be a lot of questions. So yeah, thanks for everybody for joining this one. One announcement we did, so we'll repeat it again at the end of Meet the Devs, is that we announced the season 2 date, which is we're targeting Wednesday, August 27th. And that will include the wipe and all new content, the farm map, and a bunch of other new goodies, which we'll talk about next Meet the Devs. I mentioned this one we did full Q&A because we always get so many questions and I can't answer them all. But the next one is going to go over everything in season 2, talk about season 3 a little bit, and then beyond a bit. So it's going to be a lot of fun stuff next one. I have to work on this deck. I saved all my deck energy by not doing this one. So anyway.
All right. Thanks a lot everyone for watching. Yeah, I'll see you next time.